Okay, so Amanda has a 6-point bustle. And what that means is there are going to be 6 points in the train that are going to be brought up. And that's going to help her so that she's not having all of this dragging behind. So the first thing that you're going to do on the wedding day when it's time to bustle, you're going to come here to the very end of the train at the center. Right now you're going to notice that I have a little safety pin here. That is just holding everything together, but on wedding day, there's actually going to be a thread that is holding these upper layers to this. And you can see here where I clipped the original one. So you'll need to clip that thread before you can bustle. So we're going to pretend that this is my thread and I just clipped it. So then all of these layers, there's some tulle and lace, come separate from our satin. When the bride is actually in the dress, you can actually hold this up and have her help hold it. But since it's on the mannequin, mannequin does not have arms to hold. So first thing we're gonna bustle is this under layer. This satin layer actually has 3 points. So when we lift this up, you're gonna see that there is a loop here. This is not part of the bustle. It's just a hang strap for when the bride is not wearing the dress. So ignore that and keep going. And then as we come up here, you're gonna notice we have a little rainbow. We have 3 different colors of threads. We have a blue and a pink and kind of like this robin egg seafoam color, okay? So there are 2 sets of each color. This is one. When you go up higher, there's the other set. So just as simple as it sounds, we're gonna tie blue to blue, pink to pink, and green to green. So I'm gonna start with our blue ones here. And I'm gonna get the other blue one. And what we're gonna do is you're gonna notice all this extra fabric is gonna bunch up. We're gonna push that out of the way because we want to tie these ribbons as close as we can. We want the bases to kind of touch, right? But you wanna make sure that we're not pushing that other fabric in the way. So we're gonna get these as close as we can together and just tie it into a bow. There we go. You can tie it into a knot if you feel like it, but a bow is perfectly fine. These ribbons are very grippy. So there's our first set. Next, I'm gonna come here and get our pink ribbon sets. Okay, and just that same thing, we're gonna keep that fabric up and out of the way, and then just go ahead and tie this into a bow. All right, then our last set here. Kind of pull on those. And then this part is really just going to fluff down underneath, and that'll fall. So we have our 3 points just holding this up. Okay, so now that we have those first 3 points done, we're halfway down. Now we're going to have 3 points in these outer layers. They're all going to bustle up together. We're going to start by pulling out 3 sets of ribbon strings. So we're going to come here to the bottom of where the corset ties. And right above this flower, about a ½ inch, there's 2 little ribbon knots. They have little tiny ribbons like on the ends. We're going to go ahead and pull those out together. Now these outer points all have button backers. So when these ribbons stop, that button that is attached to them is hitting and it is stopping this from ripping the fabric. So this is nice and secure and it's not going to damage the dress. So there's our first set. We're going to go over about 8 to 9 inches down here on a diagonal. It's actually on top of a seam right here that's just next to this. And it's on this little applique right here. There's 2 more knots. And again, we're going to pull those just that same manner. And then on this same applique on the opposite side is another set of ribbon strings. So 1, 2, 3 sets of ribbon strings. Now we're going to pull 3 loops out of the skirt. So there's a couple ways to find this. The easiest way for you guys is probably going to be lifting up all these layers. And we're going to find all of these points. So down the center seam, there's one of those little ribbons and buttons, off to the right and then off to the left, okay? I like starting on the side and working my way in to make sure I'm getting the right points to the correct side. So I'm gonna start on the left, and again, there's the farthest to the left. It is right here on that seam. You can go ahead and hold on to that button, and then come to the outer part of the fabric. And right on that seam, this little ribbon is peeking out right there. It might be hard to see in this video, but once you're in person, you can feel where that button's coming through, and you can see a little bit more where that ribbon loop is. So I just pull that out gently. Now we have a loop. We're gonna go directly to the strings that are right above it on that seam here. And we're just gonna take one of those little knots, stick it through, and then pull it up. Now, sometimes fabric can feel a little heavy. I like to just stick my knee under to help hold it up because we want to make sure this loop gets pulled up as high as it can. You don't want to tie it down with it drooped because it won't do what it's supposed to do. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that's pulled up as high as that can go. And just tie that into a bow right now. We'll address the bow in a minute. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. So if you get lost, go underneath, but I know that this bustle point is going to be down this same seam, and I can see it here. So I'm not going to go underneath and find it, but you can go underneath, find that little button and ribbon, and pull it out that way. So there's that one. Same manner. Take one ribbon, put it through, tie it up all the way up as it can go. Okay, so there's that. These ribbons are very grippy. You can tie them into a knot if you would like to on the wedding day, but it's really not necessary because they like to grip to each other. So this center one, I was just feeling behind for it because it's a little bit more busy along the top. So found that button, and again, right on top, it's actually on this little flower. It really blends in right now, but I can feel it and see it right there. So it's on the bottom petal of this flower. So I'm gonna go ahead, gently pull that out, and this one just goes to the center. All right. And then get that up again as high as you want. Some dresses, the center point actually gets done over the corset or over the zipper. In this case, we were able to get this low down, so it doesn't matter. You won't have to take down any bustle points after you tie them. So before we address fluffing this, we have all these ribbons sticking out. I have a crochet hook in the bride's bag, and what you'll do with each of these points, you're gonna take those ribbons and twist them up. Take your crochet hook from behind through the loop, grab those ribbons and just pull them backwards. And then they hang behind instead of out, kind of messy like. The last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna fluff this. Just like when the train is down, when the bride is moving, the bustle moves. So when it's up, we wanna make sure that during photos, like if she's getting a picture at cake cutting, that this looks nice because as she moves, the bustle does whatever it wants. So always come here to the back center, grab that point and let that drape in front. These other pieces, you can just kind of nicely tuck down so that this center piece is really the part that's in display. And there is her 6-point bustle.